Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam and you're watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And if you're tired of watching the same old Christmas movies year after year, I'm going to tell you about 10 on this list that you've probably never heard of, as well as where you can watch them. Welcome everybody to the Flick Connection Christmas special. I know what you're thinking, Darren, that is not a Christmas sweater, and a Caucasian is certainly not a Christmas drink. And to that, I would say, this is my channel and I'll do what I damn well please. But in this list, we're going to talk about really got in there. This year I'm doing something a little different. Instead of telling you where all the best Christmas movies are, I'm going to be focusing on 10 that have probably been under your radar, and most of these are available on a variety of streaming services. So this video is not dedicated to one particular streaming service like I normally do on this channel. But let's go ahead and start all the way at the back of this list of 10 with one of the newest movies on this list. It came out just last Christmas. It's called Fat Man. In this movie, Mel Gibson plays Santa Claus, but it's a very different Santa Claus than you're used to seeing. He's kind of this rugged old farmer type character, and he is a badass in this movie as well. You also get a really great role from Walton Goggins, who is sort of hunting down Santa Claus, if you will. So this is a rated R movie. It's not super gritty, doesn't have a super hard edge to it, but it can be a little bloody. It's a little bit vulgar, so it's definitely not one for the family, but it is not so off-putting that it's going to really offend anybody watching this video. If you just want to watch a Christmas movie that's got a drastically different take, this is a great way to go, but do keep in mind this one's all the way at the back at number 10. Now, while that movie was a little bit intense, and I do have some movies on this list that are even more intense than that, Christmas is about good, positive feelings, so I do have one romantic comedy on this list, Just Friends. Now, you can currently catch this on Netflix, and the reason this one makes the list is solely because of Ryan Reynolds. But in this movie, he goes dramatically against type. He's very overweight in high school, and he plays that role really well. But what the movie's really about is when he's older, he's sort of pursuing his high school crush, and you get classic Ryan Reynolds with this. I do think he has gotten much better with his wit and his humor in some of his more recent movies, but this is from over 10 years ago, and he's still got a solid sense of humor that comes across on screen. So if you're a fan of his, I do recommend this movie, even if you don't traditionally like romantic comedies. Now, another one that's kind of way out there for a Christmas movie is a Christmas horror movie that I am surprised does not have more of a cult following, Better Watch Out. This one's also only a few years old, and while it does have some standard horror movie beats, meaning jump scares and fairly lazy things like that, the movie's full of those, but it also has something else up its sleeve that was very interesting, that worked really well for me for sort of this crazy horror movie that takes place during Christmas. And there are a handful of decent horror movies to be watched at Christmas. This one, though, is one I've only seen in recent years, and I think it's a total gem that, again, just probably should have a little bit more of a cult following. If you generally like your horror movies to be a little more fun-natured, this is a great one. Just keep in mind, it is a horror movie, and there is going to be some blood from time to time. Better Watch Out is currently on AMC Plus at the time of me posting this video, but it is leaving in just a few days' time, so it may jump to another platform, but this may also be a rental. But if you like the way I've talked about it, it would make an excellent rental for a few bucks. So for all the talk as to whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not, which it totally is, and I'm going to mention it later on this list. No, it's not on the list, but I've got another action movie up my sleeve. Batman Returns, though, is an excellent Christmas watch. While this is not my favorite Batman movie, it is an excellent follow-up to Tim Burton's original. It's got this amazing Tim Burton sensibility to it, and it is incredibly dark. Danny DeVito plays the Penguin and is just an excellent villain, but this movie does go into some really creepy territory, not just with him, but Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I mean, even though this was kind of marketed towards kids and families, this is among one of the darker movies Tim Burton has ever done. I think it exceeds the original Batman in how dark and grim it gets, but it all takes place during Christmas, and there's even some mayhem that is pretty heavily Christmas themed, and it all works really well. You're kind of in this winter wonderland. the entire movie. There's this ice theme with the penguins. So while it is not really a Christmas movie, the Christmas themes are so heavy in Batman Returns, you could easily watch it during the season and it would make for a great watch, especially for anyone watching this video who is burned out on traditional Christmas movies. Alright, now I mentioned my next few picks are family friendly, and my next pick is actually not a full feature movie. This is actually a Christmas special from the 80s that just does not get enough love. It's called The Snowman, and you can watch it for free right here on YouTube. By the way, there's a link to where you can watch this in the top pinned comment underneath this video, along with the full list of all the movies I'm talking about and the platforms you can currently stream them on. Just scroll down there when you're done with this video and highlight the ones you want to watch. But The Snowman is a beautiful animated Christmas special based on a book by the same name. And the animation style follows the illustration style of the book. Everything looks like watercolor. And what's so beautiful about this is there's really no dialogue. This is essentially a silent story. It's got beautiful music to go with it. And again, just an overall look and feel that has got this lovely sensibility to it. So this is a great one to watch with kids, especially really young kids, even though there is no dialogue. If you just actively watch it with them and talk about it as things are happening, you could really get your kids turned on to something that's a little bit different from what they're normally watching, that has, again, just a wonderful sensibility to it. Now, for something much more modern, a Christmas movie that's only a couple of years old that you can watch on Netflix, Claus is a beautifully animated movie that talks about the origin story of Santa Claus. Now, there are quite a few movies that talk about the origin of Santa Claus. I found this one to be particularly interesting because it's a very complex story, so adults are going to be thoroughly entertained by this. Again, the animation style is really fantastic on this, but the story is really rich and layered as well. It also takes place in this town where there are these warring factions, so you get some really interesting elements with that as well. This one can be a little bit slow-paced for really young kids, but for an animated Christmas movie that your kids have probably not really seen or paid too much attention to, it's on Netflix right now, and it's a Netflix original, so it's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Now, out of everything on this list, this one's probably the most known to people at Christmas time, or at least one that the most of you watch, but I still think A Muppet Christmas Carol is criminally underrated. So this is just a Christmas Carol told with Muppets, but what this movie has that no other Christmas Carol movie has is Michael Caine. Michael Caine is the main character. He is playing Scrooge, and not only does he do an excellent job, but he does a great job playing off of the Muppets. The character design on each of the ghosts is fantastic. They're not really traditional Muppet characters, and that works really well for the story, yet you get all the traditional Muppet characters packed into this. Not only do they look great with Michael Caine, but the environment, the world, it's just amazing layered Charles Dickens world with all these buildings that don't quite look like they could stand up on their own. So all the different pieces work together to serve this story really well. This is one of my favorite ways to watch A Christmas Carol. There are a handful of good movies based on A Christmas Carol. I just happen to think this is one of the best for families at Christmas. All right, that's not my last one for the family on this list, but we are going to switch back to some classic Darren Van Dam recommendations with another action movie. Now again, I mentioned Die Hard. For some reason, people think it's cute to dispute whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I don't know why, just put it to bed now. Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie, and one that never gets mentioned is Lethal Weapon, which has more Christmas decorations and Christmas theme going through it. I consider that to be a Christmas movie as well, but obviously, Lethal Weapon's far from being a hidden gem. I would also say Reindeer Games would make an excellent choice at Christmas time. That's even got a heavier Christmas theme, as well as some decent action, but I would put The Long Kiss Goodnight above all of those. Well, not above Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, but I would put it above other action Christmas movies. This is a wild ride that mostly takes place during Christmas and has plenty of Christmas themes to really scratch that itch this time of year. But what you get with this is Gina Davis playing an absolute badass. She is this assassin that is stricken with amnesia and then gradually starts to realize who she is. Not only is she great in this, Samuel L. Jackson is absolutely fantastic in this. And I know he's really great in everything, but he is exceptional in this. Not only is he exceptional, his costumes are off the chain on this one. I don't know if people still say off the chain, but his costumes definitely are. And you just get wild, badass, R-rated action that is just a ton of fun to watch, again, at Christmas. So if The Long Kiss Goodnight has escaped your radar from Christmas to Christmas, you can watch it this year for free on Tubi if you don't mind putting up with some ads from time to time. I've already mentioned a few honorable mentions, but before moving on to my top 2, I will say another great honorable mention that is included on Hulu right now is Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale. This movie is actually from Finland, and it's about this archaeological dig where they unearth Santa Claus, but he is not the type of Santa Claus you're used to seeing. This one's got some Krampus vibes as well, which is another one that easily could have made this list. I do like Rare Exports better. In fact, it deserves to be in the top 10, but I have mentioned this Christmas after Christmas, and this year I did want to mention some different movies, but I thought I'd at least point you in the direction of Rare Exports. Again, on Hulu, it is foreign language, but it is a killer Christmas movie. All right, now we're at my number 2 pick, which is a big budget animated movie that probably did okay in the theaters the year it came out, but it is not held up as a Christmas tradition, and I think it should be. That is Arthur Christmas. So as you can tell, big budget animated movie. It looks fantastic, and there are crazy sequences in this of the gift giving. This is the 21st century, Santa's all teched out, and all of that stuff is really cool, clever, and creative. And then you get James McAvoy playing Arthur, who is the really well-intentioned son of Santa Claus. He's a klutz. He doesn't really fit in at the North Pole. All themes that seem fairly familiar, but Arthur Christmas develops into a really fantastic adventure story as one gift is not delivered. You've got different generations of Santa Claus in this, and this interesting family dynamic that unfolds, and again, just a great adventure story that really breaks loose after about the 30-minute mark. Really a top-notch animated Christmas movie for families that I know will entertain adults just as much as kids, and a lot of you may have seen this one, but again, I think this really deserves to be a Christmas tradition. It's not. Right now, it's included with Hulu Live TV, but this would be well worth a rental if you're hard up for something to watch this year. So all of those more or less are available on some form of streaming service at the time of me posting this video. My top pick is not, unfortunately, but if you love my recommendations generally, then I cannot recommend enough that you rent Kiss Kiss Bang Bang this Christmas. Now, in terms of Christmas themes, this one may be one of the weaker ones on this list, but in terms of a hidden gem I know a lot of you have yet to discover, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is an excellent movie that takes place during Christmas. They go to Christmas parties. The Christmas theme is scattered all throughout this movie, but what you really get is this fantastic neo-noir detective style movie with a really fantastic performance from Robert Downey Jr. Now don't get me wrong, everybody else is great. Val Kilmer is especially good in this, but Robert Downey Jr. is bringing his classic charm to screen in a way he had not done in a long time when this movie came out. He had disappeared and then came back, and this movie, I think, really opened up a lot of directors to working with him again because he is so incredibly charismatic in this movie. Now he's great because he's so good at what he does, but he's also reading dialogue written by Shane Black, who's most famous for having written the Lethal Weapon series, again, action movies that take place at Christmas. And while this one doesn't quite qualify as an action movie, there's a good bit of action in it, and again, just a really fantastic detective story that takes place in LA during the peak of the season. Makes for a great holiday watch, especially for any of you looking for something new and different to watch. If you've never seen it, again, cannot recommend it enough. And even though that's it for the list, I do want to tell you about today's sponsor, Universal Yums, which also makes not only a fantastic gift this holiday season, but really just a great gift for yourself too. I just got mine, and as you can see, it is absolutely packed with snacks. Look, I mean, there's like 20 plus things in here. And it's candies, cookies, cakes, crackers, all holiday themed stuff from around the world. It's a really cool gift to give, and again, just a cool snack for yourself around the holidays as well. So you can sign up for that holiday box, or you can sign up for a regular box, which is gonna come to your door every single month, or a friend's door if you decide to gift this. every single month from a different surprise country, and it's always interesting, unique snacks in there. Flavor profiles I've never tasted before, so it always makes for a really fun experience. Again, there's a link in the description. You can sign up for the holiday box or the standard one. Either one's a great way to go for yourself or for a friend. I've been getting boxes from them for almost 2 years now, and it's always just a fun surprise when you get that package in the mail. So again, go to the link in the description, check it out while you still have time for that holiday box. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter and seeing your name here at the end of every video, there's a link in the description box for that as well. But I will keep making these videos as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this special Christmas episode, and you will see me on the next one.